It's Sunday morning. Everyone's still asleep in the house. I've got my coffee. I want to talk a little bit about Modular DnD. I'm Tristan. This is Heroes and Homebrew. So what do I mean by Modular DnD? Well, the more you look at different OSR systems, or systems that are based on, say, BX or OD&D or even 1E, a lot of them have a very similar framework because they're all trying to emulate roughly the same thing. And a lot of those games will have interpretations by the writers or even house rules by the writers put into them. And what that gives us is a plethora of different interpretations of BX or BECME or 1E. So you have White Box, Basic Fantasy, which is kind of an amalgamation of a lot of different things. You have Osric, which is 1E, Labyrinth Lord, DCC. You have all these things that are all built on roughly the same chassis. And what this does is it allows you to take a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B and put them together without breaking the game at all. It's something you can't really do. You can't take, with modern systems, you can't take, say, a little bit of Cypher System and a little bit of 5e and a little bit of Call of Cthulhu and put them together. You're going to have a mess of a game. Sure, with a little bit of work, you can maybe make them work somehow, but will it feel cohesive? Will it feel natural? Probably not. Whereas if I wanted to take the one saving throw system from White Box and put it into Osric, it won't change anything. It'll just mean that the DM doesn't have to interpret which saving throw to use. It's just a single saving throw. To the extent that I could even pull out some things from 5e if I wanted to. For instance, I like the advantage-disadvantage system from 5e. I could pull that out and I could put it into White Box if I want to. Now, granted, something like White Box doesn't use a 20-sided die ability roll very often. It's usually a 1d6. But even then, if I want to use the idea of advantage disadvantage, have them roll 2d6 and they take the lowest or they take the highest, or however you want to do it. So I find that something that's very interesting, that without cohesively saying as a community, okay, let's all make these games so we can switch, players can swap rules as they wish, it's just a natural thing. If I want to take a funnel system from DCC and put it into Basic Fantasy, I can do that. It's not going to break the game. It's not going to change anything. It just means that players are going to have a very violent end to several characters before they figure out which character they're going to play. I think that's one thing that draws me to so many different games in the OSR, because I can pick and choose and kind of create my own system that's still largely based on original versions of D&D and have it work. Players are able to pick it up without much of a problem. If they're experienced OSR players, then the rules will all be familiar to them. As of new OSR players, or just new players to the game, new players to those style of games, to an old school style of play, will still be able to pick them up, and they're not going to know that I've grabbed funnel system from DCC and I've grabbed the ability matrix from Osric and I'm using character creation from White Box or whatever. Like, they won't know, but it'll still be a fun game. So I think the reason why the OSR games are so much fun, and why I keep getting more and more of them, even though at the end of the day a lot of them are the same. I could look at one of them and then look at the other one and like maybe a very few differences between them. It's just how they're interpreted and laid out and worded that are different. I think what draws me to that is that I keep finding little snippets of rules that might not be in, say, BX or OD&D, but that I like, that are like new additions to those games that I can just pull out and add into whatever game I'm playing. So yeah, at the end of the day, modular D&D is the best D&D. Have a good Sunday. And save a seat for me at your table.